WeAreDenver. We're here in the Ghost House Studios, holding this shit down like we do. What you got, Anthony?
What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's having a great day. I don't know what's going on me today, y'all. I think I'm going through male menopause, man. I'm emotional today, man.
I have those days. I ain't gonna front,
I'm emotional today, man. I was out. I seen this lady, and I knew she was on drugs, really addicted. And it's just like I looked in her eyes, and it's like it was a nothing looking back, man. That was so sad, man. Like it's just people that just give up to where they want to just get rid of reality as a whole and just give in to drugs and just shit. Just I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I'm sensitive today.
Was it a Lyft ride or?
Yeah, well, no, I was sitting there and I was just kind of waiting around and it was just like just walking by and just man. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I gave someone a ride the other day that was looking kind of lost and. They asked if they could give me cash, and I just took them where they needed to go.
I mean, that's what addiction is. You're trying to give up on reality, man. It's like everything became too much, so you just like, I'm just gonna escape.
Right.
You know, I can't do it no more. You just give into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about family members that I've lost in that trap, and drug addiction. I've had an uncle who we didn't talk to him for like 15, 20 years. He disappeared because he was ashamed of his addiction, so he went to a whole nother state. So that he could be addicted without us having to like look at him, and addiction, man, has been something that our cultures, black and brown people have been attacked under for generations, for a while now, and like we all have to deal with we have to deal with the hardness of what that is. And still be able to persevere because it's hard to like look at a family member go through it and then or just somebody that go through it. I got friends that I see on the street that I grew up with, man. Yeah. Like I'm like, man, bro, I remember when you were just in your glory, and it's hard to look at you in your defeat, And
it's so incredible how they never think it's going to happen to them because you grew up in the environment. You see the crackheads on the street, but you try crack like. It's your ego. You think, well, I'm gonna do it, but I ain't gonna be like that dude.
That was the trick of it, man.
Yeah,
that was the trick of it.
I don't understand why there are still crackheads today. When you can see the result of it right in front of you.
Because it's what you said, it's ego.
Yeah.
People go into it. A lot of successful people, like just in the Lyft ride, I picked up a guy who he said he worked in the financial industry. He had a suit, pea coat, the whole nine on, and he had me take him to the corner of, it was Colfax and I guess Washington, and he got him some crack, and I took him back to Highlands Ranch.
I'm starting to see the drug addiction kind of increase here in Denver. I mean, not to say that we haven't always had our problems. We definitely have. But it's the demographic is starting to change.
What I've learned is that like in middle class and upper class, they abuse prescription medication a lot.
Right.
Yeah. To where it's like, the hood is just, you doing those type of, you're doing crack, heroin, you're doing those type of drugs. To where it's like now
they like
that I hang around a different, financial group of people.
Right.
It's like they're like Xanax and Adderall.
And they like to get the benzos, and they're easy to get these days.
And it's like nothing.
And they cut them up and snort them.
I had a group of kids in the car with me, and they were just talking about chopping up Adderall, snorting it like it's nothing, like it's taking aspirin. They're just like in a regular concert. Yeah, I'm just going to chop a cup of Adderall, man, snort that, you know what I'm saying?
And we'll be good for a few hours.
I have a conspiracy around that. I believe the pharmaceuticals are starting to go to the streets and get the kids through the streets. I know that, like...
the pharmaceuticals always been leaking into the streets, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where they originally got their power, their money from.
And then within that, if you listen to the music that's coming out right now, within the trap music and what the kids are talking about, within popping, you know what I'm saying, and doing all the drugs, it's like, I feel like our generation was a generation of drive-bys, gang-banging, and selling the drugs. And I feel like right now the current generation is talking about, it's more self-destructive, where we talk about like doing the drugs, breaking ourselves down. It is
literally like they have perfected the system of making the masses do what they want them to do. All they have to do is change the trend of TV and music,
right?
And the people will follow that. You just see that with what's going on in now, right? To where they're popping pills and stuff like that. It's like you were never glorifying doing the drug. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're glorifying being the drug users, not the drug pushers now.
Right.
It's not even just the youth. With the artists, they end up working a job doing all these shows, and then they get drunk, they drink at the venues, and then to
yeah.
sober up, they're doing coke, and then this becomes a cycle that's perpetuated throughout the whole system. And then they think that, oh, it's not going to happen to me. You know, I work out, I still do these things. But they say cocaine, you just need to try it once. That's it.
Rick James made a whole, his whole career, you know, they joke about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle made it hilarious. But, like, the reality of, like, you know, in the industry, too. But
in the industry, Joe, just doing cocaine is just like...
It's a natural thing. It's just,
like having drinks at a party.
It is.
You go to a party, you got cocaine, you got drinks.
I've been to too many parties where the cocaine line comes
it's
out,
just
man.
right there. You just like...
Well, you know, you making that decision every day. It's part of the industry. It's part of entertainment, and it's a hard thing.
That's why I tell people though, man. It's like since I've gotten into the entertainment industry and I'm kind of roaming around those peoples and being in those circles, I tell people it's like before I got into it, you would see that stuff on TV and you were like, that's not real. Motherfuckers gonna be having parties like that with just real about sex and shit. And then you get into it, you like, this shit real.
Right. Yeah.
They party like that for real.
For real.
I'm like, damn, you know, it's amazing what goes on that you don't know about. That you only see. You like, that's not real. That's make-believe. But it comes from something. It comes from reality and they put it on TV.
That's a heartbreaking thing, too. I know a lot of artists who were brilliant, who are still brilliant, right? But fell to the drug trap, you know, like fell into the addiction.
I do think a lot of artists, drugs kind of contribute to their success. Like sometimes drugs
to their brilliance.
Into their brilliance, because I don't know what it is. Like when I first tried marijuana, it just opened my mind up to different possibilities that I wouldn't think of if I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, under the influence. Right. And I noticed that, so I feel like if you're an artist, if you're creative, I feel like that drug kind of releases your mind too.
Which is it's not a bad thing. Like if you think about like
certain drugs,
right? You think about like a lot of
don't do meth at all. No.
I know, like you think about like a lot of voodoo traditions. It comes back to doing rum and smoking weed, getting open. You know what I'm saying? And that openness, like, lets in spirits. Regardless of how you feel about spirits and where you at within Christianity and all that other thing, I'm not really talking about that. But I'm talking about, like, getting caught in the spirit of artistic creation or calling spirits, you know what I'm saying? Ancestors to help contribute within that creation, which scares most people who aren't in, like, you know, like that abstract thought. But, like, I feel like that's a natural indigenous reality of who we are at the root. We call spirits on to our openness in that intoxication. No,
it's the power of persuasion, really. Because, I mean, anything you hear or you see is your brain is dictating in some sort of way. It's you know what I'm saying? It's receiving it. So it could just be you're just being persuaded to, you know, do those things. I don't know. It's weird.
I have several friends that are musicians who feel like if they're not high, they can't produce as well as they would have being not high.
Yeah, see, that's a person with an addictive personality, to where they're blaming their use on something else other than just you.
Like, we're gonna play. Yeah. I gotta smoke in order to do this.
I got addictive personality for sure. I know I do. I mean, you know, when it comes to that, I definitely, you know, partake in that a little bit.
I've seen a lot of comedians who end up going through the cycle where they drink because they're offered free drinks when they perform. So they'll drink, and then pretty soon they feel like the drinking attributed to them being funny, and then so they keep drinking, and then after a while they end up having
a strong mind to where
having a problem.
You know, I don't have an addictive personality. Like I can stop doing stuff at any time, and you need that because I don't need to be addicted to no good coochie right now. Like, I don't want no more good coochie. Goddamn, I got things to do. I ain't got time to be waiting on you to come home and I'm just sitting there because I'm waiting on that good coochie.
Oh my gosh.
I want some mediocre coochie. Let me do my thing and go home, and I leave you.
So no, everyone has to have a data plan. They can't be paying by the minute.
Can't be paying by the minute. Nah.
Everybody see Anthony's Facebook this week?
Look, let me just tell you something. If you are an adult woman and you still pay for minutes for your phone, I cannot date you. That's childish. I am an adult. Miss Armstrong will never accept you.
So no Metro PCS.
No Metro PCS.
You got to have a real plan.
I don't care if you got free nights and weekends.
AT&T, Verizon. He wants you to have a real data plan.
Be an adult. Sign a contract. Sign your life away. That's what being an adult is.
So do you think that the drugs has become worse since reality TV has become so huge? over the last
Dude,
5-10 years.
Reality TV. It boils my blood to see people degrade themselves for fame and money.
Man. It's an addiction in itself, though. That's an addiction in itself.
But do you think they're really degrading themselves? I mean, do you think...
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Yes. I do.
Do you think that's really how they are, and they're just...
No, I don't.
A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are not like that. They are playing characters at all time.
Yeah. I think that's got to be like a mind trip in itself, to always be in character and not be able to get out. Like, be a real person, be flesh and blood, because, like, us as an audience, like, we love it. You know what I'm saying? We feed into this, like, character, this little caricature of a person.
I think that is another form of addiction. Just like you said, just like drugs, that's your escape from reality. Looking at other people's lives. That
but social media,
my mind, how if you think about it, you're sitting at home wasting your life watching someone else live their life. That's crazy.
Social media plays into that.
You don't think that
Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook,
sometimes I feel
Twitter.
like people who don't lead an exciting life or don't step outside of the box because they're afraid, maybe they like to watch that and live
vicariously.
That's being self-conscious. That's I can't do it, so I just want to get lost in the reality of a person that can do it.
I feel like sometimes it makes me, like, when I feel like my life isn't going that well, or it's crazy.
It makes you feel good.
It makes me feel good because
to
I'm
watch
like,
someone else's life.
My shit was fucked up, and it's not.
Yeah, that's another thing. People like to watch other people's lives crash and burn because their life is currently crashing and burning. So they just want to watch somebody else and they don't want to pay attention.
I feel like there's some people looking at my life like that sometimes. I'm like, y'all just enjoying this way too much now.
Man.
This shit.
But you really don't post a whole lot.
I don't.
Far as Facebook,
that's why.
As far as your personal,
I try to keep my personal life personal as much as I can. You know, whatever's talked in the streets is talked in the streets. But like, as far as like my personal hardships and things like that, I like to keep them personal. Like, I'm going through it.
I try to, when I post on Facebook, I try to get a good blend of like comedy, what's going on in my life, and like what I think is going on in the world. I try to blend it all in to where it's like you can't look through it and see what it really is, but it has a blend of what's going on. I'm just kind of
the first reality TV show that I ever watched that kind of got me hooked was Terrell Owens.
Why is that? What got you hooked?
He had a bad rep about being mouthy, being cocky as far as the game.
They don't like when niggas talk shit.
Exactly.
And then the first time I watched it, I was like, man, this dude he's amazing. Like, there was it made me love him. His wasn't like crazy.
I really think that is another, like, it's a demasculating thing. To where it's like, if you're great and you know you're great and everybody else know you're great, you can't say you're great. And
I agree with that. I agree. You know, I agree with what's the brother's name that was killing everybody in the Olympics?
Usain Bolt?
Huh?
Usain Bolt?
From Jamaica. Yeah. Yes, Hussein. Vocal, right? Super vocal, right? Killing these cats, but vocal within killing it, right? And then everybody wants to talk shit about him. But within that, he was the first one to donate money to freaking, what was it, Haiti? Yeah, to Haiti, knowing that they going through it. I think anytime a black man is vocal about whooping the asses of everybody wants to call him a freaking, oh, look at him, he's arrogant, he's cocky. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali was whooping people's asses, but he was justified in talking shit because he was great.
I don't even really think, I don't think it's a black and white thing. I think it is. I feel like we think it's a black thing because that's a community we roll in, but I think it's just a man thing to where even if it's a white dude in his community and he know he's good and he's saying he's good, other people are like, well, chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, don't be boastful. And
I agree with that.
Be confident. It's like they don't want you to be confident.
It's perfect because then after T.O.'s show was a year in, him and Ep06 had a news program together, and they actually got kicked off because they were talking about all of the black players being fined for doing things that white players did too, for just not even just the celebrating, but just different styles of things, like giving someone in the crowd the ball or hanging off the thing to touch
It reminds me of what Chris Rock said. I think Chris Rock said, "Don't you let your happiness ruin somebody's day."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that I feel like
it's like me being confident and celebrating my confidence is making you feel self-conscious.
Right.
To see that because you don't have that in you.
And I feel like that's something of people of color get persecuted around that more than anybody. I don't really, that when you really think about, when we get to a level of success, we can go in about it. Like, think about like people like Bill Cosby, right? Think about, and I'm just putting it out there, think about all these black actors and athletes that have done jacked up things. I'm not denying the things that they've done. Yeah. But like, why is it like that when we do something wrong, we have to take it, like, we have to lose everything around it? You know what I'm saying? Bill O'Reilly had been raping women, grabbing their asses for a long time. And I'm not saying that Bill O'Reilly...
Well, I mean, it's still the good old boys club, so...
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
Who's the quarterback that had raped several girls?
Roethlisberger.
Oh, okay, yes.
So this makes me mad, because Ocho Cinco was wrong when he had butted his wife. That was wrong. I'm not going to say it wasn't. However, he got kicked out of the league for that one instance, and this fool still played football, and he was raping girls.
Was it Bill?
Like, what
there's so many cases of that, to where you got spousal abuse, rape, you got all sorts of stuff, gun charges, drug charges, stuff. But you give all those guys second chances, but you kick Kaepernick out the motherfucking league.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just because he was vocal.
One. Yeah.
That's just, I'm telling you, I'm going to try my hardest not to watch goddamn it football.
Oh man, I mean, there's so many politics that are being played in it. You can see some of the racial microaggressions right in it.
And there's a lot of other players too that were kicked out of other leagues for the same thing. Mm-hmm. Just speaking their mind, and they're like, nope.
Yeah, I think...
You signed this contract, I own you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, we talked about contracts last time.
Yeah.
It's just a way for a person to just get in control of what you have or who you are. You sign away your life.
So, as a comedian, right? Like, I was recently, just today, I was watching this special with Dave Chappelle. He was on the Sway Show and the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, he was talking about, like, you know, he lost a lot. You know, he lost a lot of money backing off of, what is it, Comedy Channel?
Comedy Central.
Yeah, Comedy Central. So he lost a lot of money backing out of Comedy Central, but he kind of regained it within what he's doing with Netflix right now, and a lot of the financial end that he had to exchange. And then for a minute there, he went back to the circuit. You know what I'm saying? Working and doing shows. He hasn't been doing like a lot of writing anymore. But as a comic, what do you think are the things that you have to give up to get to that level of success?
Well, like Dave Chappelle, you know, there's different types of comics that you have those comics that make you socially aware, and that's kind of how Dave Chappelle is. And that type of comedy is actually being stifled right now. Like, they don't want that. They just want people that's gonna go out there and just tell you jokes about fruit and walls and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to touch on any touchy issues because they don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to lose money over it. So it's always a money thing. You know, so you to make it, you have to find a way to stay true to who you are, but also be able to play the game.
Right. And
that's what Dave Chappelle did when he walked away from what he was doing. He stayed true to who he was, but he was so good. He had so much confidence in himself to say, you know, I'm going to step away from this, make them hungry for me. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get all the fucking money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he had to have confidence in himself, but then he also had to stay true to himself to where he wasn't going to let them take over his show that he developed and fought for and let them do what they wanted to do with it. Because that's what they do. They'll give you a show. They'll give black people a show. And then the show will get popular. Then they'll like, okay, let's put these white Stanford writers back in. We don't you Negroes, you know what I'm saying? You
90s was notorious for that, too.
And do what we want to do.
Well, that's why Kevin Hart he's got his own network now.
And Kevin Hart, if you don't respect Kevin Hart, you crazy because he's doing stuff to change the game.
Right.
You know, he's like, the reason why he's making these movies that he's making, because what they tell you is that black movies don't translate overseas. So black movies never go overseas. So they never make a lot of money like all these other movies make. Because that's why all these other movies make most of their money is in the overseas market.
Right.
If you can't get overseas, you're not going to make $100, $200, $300 million. You know what I'm saying? Unless your movie is just super extraordinary. So he's doing these movies because this is kind of like the white humor, but he's putting himself in those positions. So now you can't say, okay, I'm giving you your humor.
Right.
So this can translate over here. So now we can make more money. Now I can slowly bring in the black culture that you're so afraid to feed to these other people.
Right.
And once they get hungry for it, you know it becomes a money thing. Then, okay, well now we'll give you more black access overseas.
Yeah.
So he is literally trying to change the game. You know. So I have much respect for that dude.
Yeah.
I feel like in order as a black artist to really have longevity, you have to diversify and like
You have to, man.
Revolutionize the game.
You do not want to play a Chitlin circuit forever. There's no money there. You can survive, you can live, but that's not what you're doing it for. You doing it to get into the mainstream's eye and change thoughts and ideas. So you have to do it. You have to make that crossover. Right. But the thing about it is that also this is another, race-based thing. Race is to where if you're a white artist, they'll market you to everybody. If you're a black artist, they'll just market you to the black people, and you have to create enough buzz in the white community for them to say, okay, we want to know who that is. Now they'll start to kind of, okay, there you go. Right. So it's like you have to cross over.
I feel like that's where we're lucky here in Colorado, though. We got a built-in white market.
You know what I'm saying? Do.
Where, like, and with that being said, because we have that, it's really diverse in, like, what's... in the innovation of what you can do as a black artist, right? Yep. I feel like if you're in a black dominant like city, you're more likely to cater. Where here in Denver, because we have such a diverse crowd of people, we're able to kind of
to who sees you the most. And if you see a black comedian that came up in a predominantly black area, and then you see a black comedian that comes from a predominantly white area, you'll see differences in their comedy. Because more like on the white side, it's more like long storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Whereas on the black side, it's more like interactive. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You got to be in the joke. You acting stuff out. The jokes are, you know what I'm saying? They're just different. And
it's like that in the spoken word community, too. Mm-hmm. I feel like in the spoken word community, a lot of the black poets have a tendency to be more theatric. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of the white poets have a tendency to be better writers a lot of times. Or not even better writers, they're just more intricate within their writing, you know? And, I feel like Denver, when you're out here and you're really seeing the landscape of way artists operate, specifically artists of color, we have a tendency to have to be malleable and be able to kind of diversify more here than other places just because we're dealing with the racial component without even having to be vocally.
You have to be a gentle black man out here. You can't, because I know I scare people out here. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how I am. And I'm like literally hanging around, you know what I'm saying, white cats that really don't hang around white cats. I mean, black dudes like me, you know what I'm saying? So they look at me as being aggressive and loud and this, that. I know it. I can see it in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? I don't say nothing because it's not they're not looking to bad me. It's just that's the representation they've had of me. So that's, you know what I'm saying?
Janae Burris just made a post about that, about herself. She said that she has had difficulty as a black woman and found herself being overly nice or overly sweet because people assume that she's gonna...
That's how it is. Like, I work with predominantly white people in the hospital, and I have to smile. If I come in there with like a straight look on my face, they're like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with him?"
Oh yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, "Oh my God,
the office.
He's upset."
Well, so Romani Melko, he has had this side project for a long time, Tijuana Jackson, and he wanted to put together a movie for it. And he's famous in the industry in LA. He's done a lot of movies, but no one would back his movie. So he was like, even if you do get into the mainstream, he was like, if you're black, they're still not going to back you. So
because they want, like right now, Corey Holcomb, which is like one of the top comedians in the country right now, you know, he has a particular type of humor. You know what I'm saying?
What's his style of humor?
It's kind of like, it's hood, and it's like, I don't want to say against women, but it's about particular type of women that, you know, that you try to act like aren't really real, but you know they real because you know what I'm saying? You know. Like, he talking about really weird, really real stuff that, you know, you don't want to talk about.
Right.
And so he's filmed a special that he's trying to shop around. No one will, like, pick up the special. No one will put the money in. But they know he's one of the top comedians. He has his following. But they're like, no, he's saying, like, it's too anti-woman. So it's like, they're literally telling you, like, yeah, I know these are your joke, these are your style, but this is the way we want it. And it's like, now you're tampering with my art.
Yeah,
well, he did a
you're trying to make me tone myself down.
And he raised $300,000, and he's got enough that he's already filmed it, and
that's the power of the internet nowadays too. I think with art, it's opening up the game because like artists can take that power, go directly to their fans, access them funds,
and that's
go
what
ahead
he does, man. I mean, he's brilliant with it. Like, he has his following. It's a hood ass following, but they follow him. He speaks his mind. He speaks to his people, and they sell him out every time he go anywhere.
Prison industrial complex and everything that's going on, and he he specifically names like it's real.
Right, like he's naming different like companies and corporations.
Yeah. And the realness, just like they don't want to hear the real stuff.
I'm old school when it comes to a lot of the way that I move, in the sense that I'm a real DIY style of artist, and I think that like being able to access people directly. Like I don't have a huge following. I got 5,000 followers on Instagram. I got
800. I would like to increase that. So you can follow me on Instagram at Armstrong Comedy. Let's help a play out. I'm sorry, Gil. There you go.
I got like 5,000 followers on Facebook, 2,000 on my art.
You're capped.
1,200 on capped out on Facebook, and then 2,000 on Twitter. Not a lot. But I know that I have a faithful following of people that when I release something, they engage, meaning that I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to like galvanize more people and keep it kind of intimate. And I think I model my stuff after like artists like Tech9, like Atmosphere, like Devin the Dude, like a lot of these independent artists. But I feel like it's different now because the internet, you can galvanize more people if you're smart in the ways that you engage people.
I love engaging people, man. That's one thing I do love. Like certain people that follow me on social media and they engage regularly, like I love that, because then we get a back and forth. We really get to know each other, and it's like you feel now you've created a fan and you have like a relationship, with
real
the person.
fan. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I love doing that type of stuff and just engaging people directly. You know,
right? Where can they find you?
Armstrong Comedy, Instagram. You can be my real friend on Facebook. I ain't even got 5,000 real Facebook friends. Come on, help me play it out. You can be my real friend, Anthony Armstrong. Armstrong Comedy at Gmail if you'd like to send any news for me to verify with a blue check mark. I got a blue check mark for news, just like who is that? Twitter. You can get a blue check mark from me. You are certified news.
You can find me at Ill7 on Instagram. Find me ILLSE7EN. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get those plugins in though. What?
Yeah.
What about you? 5280
52EIGHTY.
Right. And hashtag WeAreDenver. You can always find the hottest, dopest, freshest, whatever, podcasts, on WeAreDenver. Hashtag WeAreDenver. Ghost House Studios if you're on YouTube. WeAreDenver if you're on Twitch. And you can also listen to us with your ears, on All Real Radio, www.allrealradio.com. Download the app and stay in touch with all the programming that's going on a regular basis.
And if you listen on the app, then you get to hear one of Fat Track's mixes that I guarantee you will love.
Yeah, Fat Track. That dude has been on all the vacations.
Fat Track
the one tonight is
Fat Track been taken.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go get his little ass from somewhere.
8 p.m. Local artists, please submit tracks to us. You can go to, where can they go to submit tracks, LaRae?
BoomBapTricks Radio at gmail.com.
BoomBapTricks Radio.
Submit your music. We actually got some good numbers. We got some pretty good numbers.
Houston.
We have thousands of listeners, so man, thousands
3,000.
Your ticket to do something great. So sing your music, and you never know.
We've been consistent at 3,000 listeners on our program thus far on All Real Radio.
We've only had one artist submit, and DJ Skipper. He
submitted
a matchup.
No. We got more artists that have submitted than that. I've got emails of artists that have submit. So artists out there, I got your emails. So I got your emails. Fat Track will be putting those tracks in the mix here soon. I have this cat named Colossius. He's out in London, actually in England, and he submitted some tracks.
My bad. Is there a way to where like people that submit music and send in information, can we like log in on the website?
Yeah.
We can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Even more eyes on your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no reason to not submit. Please submit, because
we will be added to the BoomBapTricks website.
Exactly. And we're trying to really push independent artists, like regardless of the style of art that you do, we want to see what you're doing. So if you are a dancer, if you're a comic, if you are a musician, please submit. If you got some video that you can send to us.
And we also put on shows, 5280 Entertainment.
Right.
So
send them EPKs.
Send us stuff, man. We might have some money for you.
Right. And I mean, I feel like that's the movement of All Real Radio, really. When I think about like Brother Zen and I think about Denise, you know, like the whole vision of what they were really trying to push and move within All Real Radio's independent community grassroots art. And really having a voice for the community, for everybody to like, you know, tune in and see what's happening, not just on like NPR or Democracy Now, whatever. This is more of a grassroots connection of what's really happening in the community. Even more so than those things. And those are grassroots movements as well.
Yes,
but,
sir. And y'all need to start paying attention to these grassroots artists and everything else. You got so many music, art movements going on under your feet that you don't know about that you could help. You know what I'm saying? If you start looking out for these young cats, stop letting the mainstream media feed you what you think is great.
Right.
There's so much other stuff going on that you could be into. If you think hip hop is dead or you don't like what's going on, man, so many dope artists around you doing real live hip hop that you don't know about because you don't want to go out and
I'm one of them.
take a risk that it could potentially be bad. But it also could potentially be great. So
this weekend at Emancipation Park, SWAT from one of the broadcasters for the All Real Radio morning show.
I did see that on there.
She did a performance.
That looked like it was turned out.
Yeah.
Like it had a lot of people there too.
She's talented.
Very talented.
She can sing. She can rap. She can beatbox. Yeah.
And her kids can too.
Yeah, she is amazing. So that was cool. You can they put clips on the All Real Radio website for her event that was at Emancipation Park this weekend.
And tune into All Real Radio for the programs. I mean, if you're not feeling us, if we a little too radical, if we a little too racy for you, you know, like there's all kinds of other programs for you to tune into as well.
Stay here. You need your medicine, goddammit. You're soft, motherfuckers.
Anthony's here to harden you up. He's gonna beat you into submission and open you up. That's the whole claim.
So back into the reality TV shows. What about Real Housewives of Atlanta and Orange County? You don't think that benefited them in a positive way?
Benefited
them look native?
Housewives.
Yeah.
Well, LaRae's like really into that too. Like me and her
I want to. What
you saw
what
their
are you
entrepreneur
into?
because they're not really housewives. They all had entrepreneurial ideas. They all mostly like held.
So you're looking at them as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, they are without a question.
They had clothing lines, makeup
but
lines.
they exploit themselves within.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I get it. Like I totally get it. They're looking at that's my way in. I get it. But it's like, at what point does integrity come into play? Like, at one point, like Dave Chappelle, you stepped away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You come back, now you bigger than you ever was. But you're going to compromise your integrity and take these little crumbs they throw in you.
Right.
What about, what's the one, the dating one? Where The Bachelor. What about that?
I don't even watch that shit.
Ooh,
I don't watch that.
That's when that's when it's like one dude and he just have all these chicks.
That's misogynistic, isn't it? That's the epitome, and they show it like regularly on it.
Misogynistic, my ass. Come on, everybody want that. Come on, you want a bunch of bad.
Yeah, for the women too. The Bachelorette.
If they put me on the Bachelorette, I'm gonna be naked the whole show.
So this is my whole thought, and you already know.
Naked as hell, just looking at the women with my hands on my hips, just looking. All this,
Marriage is already a business. The fact that they like utilize like the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, it's a contract.
We talk.
Another show I like is Married at First Sight.
I'm gonna show y'all how contracts
the marriage shows.
So these people, because I thought it was interesting that these people filled out these in-depth surveys and then they matched them with their perfect match. You know,
I don't like meeting people
and then
like
they
that.
just married them. They didn't even meet each other till the day they got married.
And what?
And then they got married, and then you kind of watched how their relationship progressed.
That's not my schnick, girl. That's not my thing.
Why do you want? Like, what is the appeal of it?
I have no interest in that.
It's interesting to me. The sociological interaction.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
how many hours do you think you spend watching that a week?
I actually have to be honest. I don't watch TV, so if I do watch it,
what are you watching
from
on
Netflix or Hulu?
Oh, you really watch it then? That's a dedication. I feel like if you watch it on Netflix, that means you dedicated to it.
So what
you
happened?
Have to go get
This is what happened. I'll be honest. So at my old job, healthcare, I had a lot of downtime at night, which you know, Anthony, right?
I know nothing of that. I am always busy.
So I don't watch TV at home. I don't have cable. I never watch TVs. But then when I'm at work and I'm bored, I'm like, okay, what's on Hulu? So then I'll watch a first series, just like Orange is the New Black or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you watch it. This is interesting. And I can watch a whole season in one night.
I got my shows that I do like that. It's just not those style of shows. Like I think one of my shows is Narcos. I watch Narcos like that.
I haven't watched that.
I've watched what's another one that I watched? House of Cards like that.
You know what that's called?
What?
It's called binge watching.
Oh yeah, binge
yeah,
watching is
that's what
exactly what it is.
Binge watching. Does that sound like that's good for you?
No, I don't.
I'm just saying, it just sounds like it's bad for. If you didn't know what the fuck binge watching was, you'd be like, I better stay away from that binge watching.
I feel like Netflix made that epidemic real. Like binge
That's
watching.
how I watched Power.
So
the first time I watched Power, I watched 2 seasons.
What happens when I give you 15 shows that you love to watch, that you have to watch, and I give them all to you, season by season by season by season, and you binge watch them all? The more I give to you, you're binging. The more I give you, the more you're gonna want. That's a binge.
Yeah, it's a stimulation in your mind. It's an addiction thing for sure.
It's like they control you to be incapacitated for large amounts of unrealistic time.
And think about when you
sit there for a whole. I've done it. Like, don't get me wrong, I've done it.
Me too.
Like I've done it recently. I've lost a weekend to shows where I'm just like, I'm gonna watch the whole.
I've done it.
I don't ever watch them at home. I don't ever watch TV ever. I don't have time. The only time I had time was at that job. So actually now, I haven't watched any TV for 2 weeks.
Oh, back on that.
At all.
So entrepreneur.
I don't even know what
being independent, being an entrepreneur, you don't have time for that.
But it's so funny how society helps perpetuate it, because when you don't see a show, society makes you feel like, damn, I should probably watch that show, because it gets thrown into social media.
That's why
they're talking about the show like, oh, you better not ruin this for me. And you're like, what the fuck they talking about?
That happened to me with Orange is the New Black. I actually only got to see maybe the first half hour of the first episode, because there's a whole lot of nakedness. Yeah. And I couldn't watch
That's
that.
That's how they sell it too. That's another selling too. Game of Thrones. I was not into Game of Thrones. I'm not really into it.
Thing.
I haven't seen it.
And I hate to be the conspiracy theory dude, but it's like you.
That's not a conspiracy.
Like so what do you watch?
Huh?
What do you watch?
So this is my thing. I don't watch reality stuff. I feel like if I'm going to spend some time watching a show, I want to escape from reality, so I watch a lot of fantasy.
I do too.
I'm kind of like a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers don't know that because I got that tough exterior, but like I'm all into anime and all that stuff.
Me too.
It's like when I watch something, I want to escape from reality.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying? And that's everybody. You need that escape from real life.
I'm into video games
it might
too.
be drugs,
those reality
it might be
TV shows are me escaping from my reality.
I think it's you trying to live your reality through somebody else. This is what you think. You watch the ones you think appeals to you the most because you always identify with one of those characters. Like, oh, that's me. I do that shit to that bitch too.
Nah, I don't know that.
You don't think so on that?
No.
Don't you see LaRae get a little hood every now and then?
I tell you what I do see LaRae do.
Don't you get hood every now and then?
Oh, she's hella hood. Like, LaRae is hood to the max. Me and her have hood conversations. But one thing I do see LaRae do is you'll go through Facebook posts and through the comments. And I know you ain't the only woman that does this. I know a few women that do this. And like go through and see the conversations and all the threads. I'm sure there's more women. I'm talking to women right now. And men too. That do that. Yeah. Me personally, I don't engage in social media that
you
way.
Can see, you see America in its realest in the comment section of any video that has anything to do with social issue. Like I love those. So it's some mean, funny motherfuckers out here in this world. To where them damn YouTube comments, dude, they be so fucking mean, but they be so funny. I be like,
they be kicking people in the
I shouldn't laugh at this, but I'm like, this shit is hilarious, but it's mean as fuck.
I think, that's reality television in itself right there.
Yeah, right
Facebook,
there.
social media.
Yeah.
So, Ms. LaRae.
Yes.
So now we've been going in on you within the social media and everything like that.
It doesn't change my...
I know it doesn't. Like,
we can't convince her. Yeah, like if that would be a great world, if we could just tell somebody some shit that was wrong with them and they fixed it. You know what? I ain't gonna do that no more.
Ain't wrong with it.
I've watched them all, so I'm like done with them.
That's your thing.
But
we all got our things. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand it from my perspective. But that's your thing. It is what it is. I accept you. Even though you fucked up, I fucked you.
I nerd out on documentaries too. I'm a nerd on documentaries.
I love documentaries too.
You know, it's like Henry.
That's why I don't like that. Sometimes if it's like some scientific shit, you know what I'm saying, then I'll watch it. But I hate like history documentaries and shit. I don't even want to relive that bullshit. Right, How many times you got to relive the Civil War? God damn, motherfucker, we don't.
I like to get more in depth.
What were you gonna ask me?
What was I gonna ask you?
Yeah.
I lost the question.
It's okay that I watch.
I mean, you already know that you're gonna do what you're gonna
Love
do.
Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah.
I actually watched the first 2 seasons, and then after that, it got too much for me.
What do you get from it, though? What do you actually get out of it, other than like, you know, entertainment?
In the beginning, when I first watched it, just watching the interaction, a lot of stuff that you hear that goes on. In the first 2 was kind of more real. Then it ended up turning like this chick was with this chick and he was sleeping with this baby mama and whatever. So all those like...
It's almost like, that's what I hate. It's like they try to be more ridiculous.
Now, yeah.
It just gets worse and worse. It's like I have to be more ridiculous than the last person.
When it first started, it wasn't like that. And what is that rapper's name? He really didn't engage in the ridiculousness. But him and his wife are trying to have a baby, and his stuff wasn't good. So watching him and her go through that, and him as a rapper, a real machismo role, like that's how it's portrayed, and seeing him like like he became real.
So that's what I was gonna say. So like, the realness on that. So like within that, how much of that do you think leaks into society now, right? The way that we interact within relationships and the ways that we actually interact within like personal space. Like I feel like because everybody's so tapped into this like reality TV show world, like I feel like men and women have a way of perpetuating these ideas that, you know, these reality TV shows put out there, and it's damaging relationships crazy.
I think that part of it, to see him and his reaction with that diagnosis was needed, because a lot of people don't talk about that.
Okay.
You know, at all. Like, no one wants to talk about the fact that they can't have kids or why they don't have kids. And that's like the first person someone asks you, especially when you're over 30. You don't have kids? Why?
Do you think those reality TV shows have like healthier ways for people to deal with their issues, or do you think that like within it it's something that, do you think it's a double-edged sword on it? Do you think it helps and damages?
Yeah, it can, because then those things can be good things for people who it'd be nice to see like relatable stuff.
It's only helpful if you can see those examples of people and process it through your mind and being more intelligent enough. Most of the masses are not intelligent enough to interpret it like that.
Right. Yeah.
They're just literally wasting time looking at somebody else. They're not looking at it like, oh, let me try to get some type of lesson from this. It's just like, no, it's entertainment time.
And then there was one too where Tank, it was right before he released his last project. He was actually managing a few groups, hip-hop groups, and there was a female, and her career was, man, I wish I remember her name. She was getting ready to take off, and he was managing her. Well, he had just had his baby, and he wasn't showing up to her shows. She had other managers, like, approaching her, and just seeing that, like, that to me was cool to see too, because it showed like a lot of times when women as artists or in any kind of business, when they have a kid, they kind of like back off a lot of stuff.
It's true.
Because they end up having, you know, family stuff, but that's a job. So you need to figure it out. And then to see a male do the same thing was kind of cool, to see that he took a step back and was like, hey, my baby was just born. I need this month. I'm sorry, I know your career. And then to see her as a female get like goalie on his ass as a male was kind of cool too. And it kind of breaks that cycle of women just, you know, not really having any kind of power in the industry too.
I definitely went through that when I had my daughter, you know, having to go through like that adjustment. I took time off because I'm like a full-time artist. When I take time off, I don't get like holiday pay.
We had a big show. We had 2 big shows, and you didn't know it. Baby was any day. So
right, yeah, I
you
had to
couldn't
cancel out
come.
shows
So
and things like that, which
yeah.
affected money because
Right.
like those styles of things, it ties into your career. And when you're relying on different gigs or if you're relying on different things, and the artist, and not being a millionaire artist, I'm a working artist,
Right.
literally. So those things affect me.
But I felt like too, you had a good team around you.
I had a
so,
beautiful,
like,
strong team.
Everybody, all of us kept
Strong
moving,
team.
and nothing fell out of place. But if you don't, which he didn't, so he was in that egocentric, like I'm Tank, I'm
Yeah.
doing all this stuff.
Right.
He his artist kind of fell to the wayside because of his personal life,
I can
and
see
then
it. I
and
can
they were
definitely see that,
waiting,
too.
like, dude, like what's going on? Should I sign with this other person? You know what's going on? So
You just
that's
sucked me
the
in.
Yo.
shit I like to see.
Your baby is never allowed back in my house.
What? You talking about
She
my
can't
daughter,
come
man?
back. She played me all night long.
She does, man. That's her personality, man. She liked you though. Like,
I know. I was trying
most-
to pick up. She would not let me pick up though.
Man,
She's like, no.
She-
She'll hold her arms out for me. This is it. No.
it's that male
Spin
energy,
around.
man. Like she's used to my energy. She has to, both of my babies, they adjust to that male energy.
Right.
Female energy, they all open, But women,
cool.
they're open too,
Nah,
man.
she was having a good time.
But you worked on her, man, the whole day. She
I was
started.
gonna get her because at first she was like, no. She just started crying. No.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ah,
She
I'm gonna
rejected
get
you at first. By the time you grabbing toes and picking her up a little bit, like that was impressive. That's a hard skill. Not every man has. Not every person has. I seen women crash and burn on that.
I thought it was funny when she called you over to like come get her.
Yeah.
And then she was like, psych.
Yeah. Spin around. Oh, okay. You playing around now.
She's a character.
That was
for
funny.
sure.
That was too cute.
I had a little get together at my house. I had some people over, man. Just a good time, man. No reasons. I wanted to get some people together and just exchange mind energy,
It was so nice too. You fed us. Anthony was like our young big brother.
He was.
I just said mind energy. I lost so many street points with that. I apologize. I'm feeling sensitive today. I told y'all. Damn. I messed up.
Man, go ahead.
Look,
So,
I messed
know what's
up
happening
with
to him?
inches.
What's happening to
growing.
Anthony?
He's
He's growing.
emotionally.
But he's been in Colorado so long because it's like
I'm not growing emotionally.
he's
I
shedding off
refuse.
that. He's shedding off that
No.
Chicago.
No, I
One
want to
of
be an
those
old
things.
grumpy man.
Not knowing
No.
it's bliss. Well, you're woke.
No. I want to be
He's
an
getting
old
more
grumpy
Colorado,
ass man.
man.
I don't want to understand shit. Fuck y'all. Leave me alone.
He worries
Get
about
off the
us.
yard. Get off the grass.
He takes care
I'm
of us.
practicing now.
Feeds us.
Stay they
He
line.
He took good care of
They
us.
lying.
He took good
He
care of
always
us.
checks on me, makes sure I'm good.
He
They lying. I
does.
don't care about none of this.
Anthony is a thoroughly good dude. As wild
We're
as
ruining
he
your
is, he's a thoroughly
reputation
good
here,
dude.
but it's real talk.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
a
care about
thoroughly
none of
good
y'all.
dude.
Don't y'all believe this?
I don't mess with people who ain't thorough. I don't. Ask LaRae. I get rid of him. Ain't got time for him. So he got to be thorough. He around in our camp. He's a
Yeah.
thorough dude, without
Yeah.
a question. And he's a good-hearted dude, and he'll do anything for anybody as
I
long.
ain't doing shit for none of you motherfuckers. I'm telling you, goddamn, don't you
I ain't
believe
front
these
of
folks?
this dude. Yeah.
He'll do anything, but don't ask him for money.
Right.
Period.
I'm kind of like that too. It depends on the day.
You can
For
get
the
money
most part,
for me. I have long people. This is
he'll
look,
break-
No, don't
if I give you
advertise that.
if I give you money,
We have 3,000
if I give you money, I'm thorough with you. If I give you money, I'm thorough with you. And when I give it to you, I don't even. If you give it back, I got it. If you don't give it back, fuck it. I'm not giving money to the motherfucker I don't expect to get it back from. Or if I care if I get it back or not.
I feel like it's an
Yeah,
exchange of
We have a
energy
problem,
anyway.
You know what I'm saying? So if I give it to you, I mean, you thorough with me enough to where I'm just gonna give it to you. If I get it back, I get it back. If I don't, I don't. I don't tell you this, but you know what I'm saying? I just like whatever. You know,
It's an exchange of energy. You giving energy to somebody, it's gonna always come back, regardless if it's physical or
Yeah, I
what it
always
is.
plan
Some other way.
on not getting it back.
yeah.
Yeah, it is
Or
what it
I
is,
don't give
you know?
it if I don't
I don't
have
get
it.
mad. It's just like okay,
Half the time
it
it
is
doesn't
what
come
it is.
back.
You know.
Don't you hate the person the collector that's hitting you up like, yo man, where's that $5 though? Hey man.
Yeah, I don't
bet-
do people like that because you embarrassed when you need to borrow money and shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to make a person feel
I got
bad.
family.
I actually had a
After
family
you-
member that
you know
did that to me a
Yeah,
few
you know,
months back.
niggas do
Yeah.
that to people. Yo,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Let you owe an old person some money. You know you owe me goddamn money. Right? Every time you come around, holidays, if he gonna come to the barbecue, he better have my house goddamn money when he get here.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
Nah,
that was
it is.
interesting. I decided at that point I'd rather be homeless or live in my car than ask again. Yeah.
I remember I used to ask my mom for money. Man, like I don't know. I think this is black people. They gotta sit and just look for about 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Then they gonna be like, so You think I got that type of money for whatever the bullshit you want it for? Then you got to sit for another 20 minutes. You be like, God damn, just keep the motherfucking money. I don't want it now.
Yeah, that's true. My dad would be like, so what is the reason?
Yeah.
And what happened? And what's going to change to make this different? Like,
He's not
a make. And then I don't know where he goes. Somewhere. You don't know. With a key, it's all locked up. There's no banks in my family. Still hiding shit.
You know, I was saying that about, like, I don't know what it is now. Like, you can't rely on family to, like, help you do shit.
No.
Like, at all now, man. You know what I'm saying? You can be homeless and need a place to stay. Your family like, nah, you can't stay here. I ain't got enough room for you.
People become more selfish.
We definitely selfish as hell.
Yeah. I made a post yesterday talking about the elders.
Like, old ass.
Yeah, hey, you know.
I read all the comments.
Yeah,
so
well, you went through the comments on my Facebook page. And it's an interesting thing because, like, I feel like eldership, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that is needed in our communities because that's where the lessons were passed down. Like, I always had a mentor above me who was at least, like, 20 to 30 years older than me, 50s. I had a homeboy named Charlie Brown. He was a street hustler and just taught me the fundamentals of hustling. You know what I'm saying? And,
man,
like,
it's like this thing to where I don't know. It's like they're trying to take that away from people. Like old people are looked at as like old and useless now.
I mean, you old at 28 right now. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like they're
28 years old. You going downhill right now.
I really think
crazy.
like a lot of movies are a representation of eventually the society we live in. Because if you notice, all these movies they put out, these kids are like super duper young, and that's in the movies. But they're playing these like major roles in society and like the decision of what the direction the world will take. Like they're all young kids. There aren't a good representation of old people. It's like every time you see old people in our movies, it's like they're at the end.
Right.
Like they've got one last hurrah and then they're done.
Right.
To where it's like they're not being upheld and looked at as teachers and, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mentors of the future.
I feel like we got an old mentality in a new format. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that like we got like this ageism format, thinking what 30 should look like, what 40 should look like,
I was just about to
and
say
what
that.
50
now
should look like, and it doesn't look the same.
Talk about 40 is to do 20. No, motherfucker, you 40.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's like we have this. We want to live forever. We want to live in our youth. We don't want to accept aging, and I'm like, that's a part of life. So it's like we try to live in the moment. Now we try to live vicariously through these people that we see. I think they are young and vibrant and can do everything that we wish we could do.
Aging with grace, man. I think that's a loss for. I think that's a lot. It's a lost art form too.
But I think it's society. The previous societies dictate what happens, and I think you have a lot of people that did nothing but work their whole lives.
Yes.
And they gave their whole life to family. And they never achieved those goals. They gave up all those goals and dreams and aspirations to stay at home and take care of the family. And so now they're telling their kids, don't do this.
Right.
Go after your dreams. Fuck all this other shit. Fuck these other people. And that's why we're selfish and stuff now, because we gave so much before. Now we want these people that come after us to live the life we never could.
When I was leaving the house, my sister was watching, I don't know what she was watching, but they were talking about, it was a news channel. They were talking about people in their 30s aren't having kids. The 20-year-olds aren't having kids, and there's less teen pregnancy. And they relied on teen pregnancy and 20-years to sustain
recreate
population.
Yeah.
So as it is right now, the population's down. So they're like, how can we? So as far as manipulating, they're like, how do we get these kids pregnant again? How do we get them to want kids again?
But we don't need none of you motherfuckers on this planet. Goddamn it, pull the fuck out. Pull out, goddamn it.
Well, I was going to say population control. Like, they've been doing all these tactics to kill us off, and now they're trying to do all these tactics to get us impregnant.
The older people, because they
kill off the old folks.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, it's
like they're trying to find a way, first of all, to be young forever, science wise. You know,
they already found it. I feel like they already found some of that.
I don't know.
If you look at the way that
machines.
If you look at not even Botox, but like if you look at our age at 30 compared to our parents, and I'm not even talking about the aesthetics and what we wear, but the way that we actually look in comparison. I look. Most people age ambiguous a lot of the time because they don't have any perspective of what age really is at this point. You know what I'm saying? And I think that like our parents' generation that came before, they were our grandparents. Our grandparents, man, like I
gotta start doing that. That shit looked good as hell. You like, I gotta do that when I talk to something like that.
But like our grandparents at 30 years old did not look like our parents did at 30, and I feel like that is changing generation to generation.
But I think it's not like I think it's a mental thing though.
It is.
No,
like
it is.
Dressing these kids, they dressing younger. They're. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you just became an old lady. You
we had this conversation. I saw this
and
woman.
Some slippers that had holes in them.
And she was in
this
short-ass
no
skirt.
You gave up, LaRae.
That was for like a 20-year-old, and she was in her 40s, and I was like, man, she needs to dress her age.
But why?
And then he said, but why? And that's why. She needs to dress her age.
You have to accept the transition. It is what it is.
So this is my thing with that. There's a few things with that. In the 1920s and 1930s, everybody wore suits. Everybody. If you were young,
and
if you were old.
To go back to that.
I like that too. I'm not anti that.
Look good.
But like in the 1960s, there became this whole like layout of like you have to look this way in order to be that age, and we carry that on. I feel like age, time is all relevant.
No, I
really.
think it's like there's a thing in society at time that you have to do, and people don't want to do it, and so the next generation that comes along, they're just not doing what the previous generation did because they didn't want to do it. So they teaching these kids, you don't want to do this because it's miserable.
I think like spiritually and like financially, if you got a savings account, if you put money away, if you are at least trying to invest in yourself in some way, how you look aesthetically, who gives a fuck? And like I think that a lot of the time we get caught up.
This is what it is. They've made it to where society puts so much pressure on you. Even if you know, like, I'm thorough where I'm at, you still, it's like society says, well, if you can't buy this, then you really aren't that. You know,
that's the conundrum of what it is.
And
though.
you don't
that's
have a house, you don't have a husband, you don't have kids. I get that a lot. Oh, you're 40? You don't have kids? You're not married?
Right.
Huh.
But that's an old mind state. And that's what
and it gets to me after a while. It really does. And then at that point, you're like, dang, I don't want to be that old.
But why play it out then?
Now my eggs are old. I can't even have kids.
But
what the hell?
You better not put none in them goddamn eggs. Leave them where they at, LaRae. Leave them on up in there.
But why play it out any more than what it is, though?
Well, goddammit.
You telling me right now you don't agree with that? You don't think that there should be like this condition of you have to have these things or look these certain ways anyways? That's what you're saying.
Because they have me and my feelings. I mean, they're out there. Everyone's thinking.
Okay,
so
this is what I say.
A hard time
you don't have to conform to the whole. You need to be married, 2 kids, dog type of mentality. But there is a transition you have to make with age.
True, I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think that like you have to recognize and acknowledge that you're getting older. Yes. I think that within getting older, it shouldn't look how freaking society looks. It should look how you look, how you want that to look.
Like,
whatever you want that to look like.
Where you accepted that you stopped giving to the society and you start coming to society's teachers.
Right. You
can't do what you used to fucking do.
Yeah, I agree
now
with
you
that.
have to teach
if you still popping mollies in your 40s,
you know what I'm saying, be better than you were, but we became so selfish to where it's like we just want them to not have to do the shit we did because we didn't like it.
You got cats like 2 Chainz who's still popping mollies. Gucci Man is still freaking doing all the drugs. They are cats that are representing some bad. Like as you get older, you should definitely wisen up. You should educate. I do, but I don't think it should like look like. The fact that I still do art is because of artists like Zen, right? The fact that I still do art are artists like that gave me examples as getting older as an artist. Erykah Badu, freaking James Brown, freaking like I can go off. The art is something that you creatively, you evolve who you are as you get older anyways. And I feel like societally, we are told to give up on who we are within our artistry, and we're told to give up on visions and dreams and aspirations. And I think the reason that they do that is because they're trying to kill out our culture in order to get us to conform and be better workers for them, instead of going for dreams for entrepreneurial endeavors to like advance ourselves.
And I don't know that that's true, that they're trying to get us to do that, because I see a lot of people in the white culture going back to college. and getting degrees.
My dad
or
did.
Starting a business.
My dad did
or
that.
working as a CEO for a company.
My
and then
dad did
starting
that
their
at
own
30.
60.
My dad did that at 39 years old.
I feel like it's our culture.
No. But like within that, it's the condition of our cultures. Because at 39, like white people, if you come from affluence, you're not questioned within your affluence if you can continue on that, and you have more opportunities. Now, in black culture, like when you're in the neighborhood and you see the crackheads and you see the drug dealers and you see freaking poverty and you see all these roadblocks that are stopping you from getting any style of success, a dream and a vision is a lost vision. It's a lost dream. It's not a reality. And then within that, they don't plug us into the same resources. We're not getting chances to look at these different like entrepreneur classes that, you know, that only has one minority in it because the rest of the minorities don't have the knowledge around it.
Right.
Dude, it's just look at the way movies and things are set up to where it's always a happy ending. It's always a happy ending. Everything always works out.
That's why I love movies.
Exactly. And that's the mentality that it feeds the people, that everything should work out. So we can't accept when things go wrong.
No, it's true.
And
you got to work hard to overcome it.
It's like you lose your mind when life isn't what you think it should be, and you can't accept it. Because a lot of people feel like, oh, I should be able to go to school, get a great job, live a nice life, you know what I'm saying, this, that, and the other. And when you can't do that, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do when this is what you told me I was supposed to be able to do? And I've done that. Now what do I do?
But we can. We could do whatever we want.
You can, but you got to understand how hard it is.
I like
We're all conditioned to believe something. You know what I'm saying? We've been fed bits of information and we decide what we're going to do. But it's like you're going to create your own idea of what you think perception of what reality should be.
I should be creating a nest egg right now. Beefing up my 401k. Yeah. I'm halfway done with life.
But basically. You're one of the rare people that are willing to step outside of that and do what you believe you should be doing.
Because I already don't have what society says. So
but and with that being said, too.
So you're just doing it because you're like, fuck it anyway.
I'm going to die. I need to do what the hell I want.
One thing that's being fed to our generation as well is that we're not going to have a retirement. Like a lot of Social Security is not a reality. So when you think about how we're being conditioned in that way, all of us are pulling away, starting our own businesses because we're like, fuck it. We ain't gonna have anything anyway, so I might as well stack it and try to get it myself. Yeah. So like 401k, I've had a few 401ks and cashed out on them a few times. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the reality. If I got some bills that I gotta pay and my 401k is looking nice, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna cash out on that a little bit and pay some things. Refinancing homes. You know what I'm saying? People are refinancing homes.
That's one thing that I've really started to question lately is people who save and save and save and they don't live. They just save. They sacrifice, work,
or
save
they work,
for their retirement,
and
then they're dead. They cross the street and they're dead.
But like, you see that represented in a lot of movies. A lot of movies are like that, to where you have this big mogul that gave his whole life away, and now, at the end of his life, he finds this woman, and now, now I'm living the life I never got to live because I worked too. You see that in the movies. That's like the premise of like a lot of movies, just right there.
I saw it a lot in the hospital. I think a while back, maybe 8 months ago, I was telling Il that I met this woman. She owned this mansion, or she does own this mansion over in Wash Park, and her family built it when they migrated to Colorado. And she didn't have any kids. And she's 90 now. She is dying, and she didn't have no one to give the house.
Trying to wipe her up real quick.
Money. I was actually trying to become her granddaughter before she passed away.
That's another thing to where we used to accept that we wanted everybody else after us to be better. So we spent our life trying to make the next generation better, and the next generation. So it's lineage and name. You just want the name to grow with it.
Right,
so you're sacrificing so the next generation. That's why having sons and stuff was so important, because you felt like your son was to head the next generation of people, bring them into, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but we're going away from that.
And that's the old contract,
we don't care about lineage and name anymore.
Marriage contract, the old marriage contract. Like back in the day, they didn't worry about love. They worried about arranging different estates.
That's what marriages
really
originally was. It was because women didn't have rights. You couldn't go out there and work, so you had to be married off to a man so you could survive outside your father's house.
That happened to my grandmother. My grandmother was given to my grandfather.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like marriage for love is a new concept in terms of history.
Right. Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing, like, especially in the millennium in 2017, is looking at love, marriage, and what that's going to look like in the future, because people's, faith on marriage and love. I mean, my parents were divorced when I was super young. My dad's serial monogamous. So within that, like, marriage and what it really is and what it really represents.
You buy into that societal norm that's what you're supposed to do, and then you get into it and you're like, this ain't what the fuck I want to do.
Right.
Like, this ain't what I want. You know what I'm saying? The reality doesn't set in until you get into it and you realize, like, okay, this is some bullshit.
Right. I feel that's one thing about Colorado is pushes against the cultural norms. I mean, when you're thinking about the LGBTQ community, when you're thinking about like everything that's happening within activism, there is a strong feminist movement happening right now. Black Lives Matter is out here right now. There's a Chicano movement happening. And not to say that this isn't happening globally, but I feel like Denver, because it's not in extreme poverty, we have the opportunity to really like play around with these ideas and like kind of philosophize around them and kind of evolve them in different ways, where other cities that are going through it they're in the battle. So because they're in the midst of the battle, it's hard to think about what's going to be next. And I feel like that's kind of the beauties of Denver, is that we have new people who are coming out here advancing some of those thoughts and pushing it forward.
Melting pot, so you can kind of look at all races and how they intermingle together. You know what I'm saying, in the community. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Was it like that in Chicago?
I feel like there was like, no, not as much.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody had their neighborhoods. I mean, of course, there was a couple of you know what I'm saying, whatever. But like, it was like predominantly like, oh, you had Jewish over here, white, black, Mexican, blah, blah, blah.
It's an old city too.
Well, even now, but now though, I take that back. I see it's happening in places like, you know what I'm saying, Maywood, to where it's like there's more Hispanic families, more white families in Maywood, to where at one point it was all white, and then it went to all black. Now it's being integrated with everybody.
I've been in a lot of city meetings lately, and like been a part of like listening to what they're developing out the city in Denver, and some of the places that they're gentrifying. Like Sun Valley is the next area that they're really going to start putting focus on. And one of the things that they're really trying to do, from what I've heard, in the meetings, is they're trying to make sure that it's diverse in culture and economics. You know what I'm saying?
Not just with the students, but I attended one of his meetings and one of IL's meetings, and they were talking about working on getting money or some kind of bonus or incentive for minority teachers, because we're lacking that in Denver because of the gentrification and the people that are moving in. The teachers aren't matching up what the community needs. Right,
and that's really what's happening even within the police. Like, when you think about all the shootings that are happening from the police, it comes from a place of fear, ignorance, and bias. And a lot of these officers that are coming in, they're coming from different demographics that black people and brown people are ideas to them. So they're not representing the actual, like, instead of having an officer that comes from the community, which the Denver Police Department is trying to recruit more.
They can't afford to live in the city.
Right, that's what's happening too. All the minorities are getting pushed out.
We don't pay them enough. They're making $33,000. You can't live in Denver with that money.
No, like, how much is rent right now for a one bedroom?
Rent right now for a one bedroom in downtown is $1,800 and up, and that's for 500 square feet or less.
Yeah, a little
in
box,
Denver. Yeah.
Like a little studio apartment.
Yeah.
I was just looking at apartments recently with my brother, and he was showing me a one bedroom right now, which was in Glendale. Yeah. Where I'm at. It was going for $1,600.
Now it's starting to branch out. Yeah.
Well, over by the new University Hospital off of 225, there's a new building over there they built. The one bedroom is 525 square feet, and it starts at $1,900, and that's over in Aurora.
Yeah, well, I saw like they just redid all the roads over there. They're building river walks over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? While they're at that little bridge you go over, they built the river walk under there.
Wow.
So they're coming.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we had, that's one thing about the gentrification that sucks, is that all this cool stuff is coming. Like in Aurora, wouldn't it have been cool before all this shit happened and people couldn't afford it if we had a river walk?
Right.
Like, what the hell?
That's the thing with gentrification, though.
And the roads fixed? Half of these little Denver areas didn't even have sidewalks.
Because they know that Denver's too full. So now you're going to have those smart people that's going to try to kind of come a little bit farther. Yeah, I got to travel a little bit farther to get to downtown Denver, but I'm saving a lot of money and, you know what I'm saying, taxes, whatever.
I know a few friends.
So they're just buying up stuff and they're starting to push out farther.
So that's another thing. So within like the black and brown community, galvanizing power and like becoming developers ourselves, right? Like, you know, like really when you think about ownership of land, you look at the Constitution, you're not considered a citizen until you own land. Anyways,
that's true.
And how many people actually own land here in America?
And what is owning to you? Like, I know people who think when you say, "Yeah, I own a home and a car," well, is there a note on that car?
Owning is, if you ask somebody from another country, you ask somebody from another country what owning is, they'll tell you it's not owned until they have the freaking papers, until the statement is in their hand. So Americans don't have that perception. Like ours is, I'm paying payments on it. You in slavery until that house is paid off, and most people don't pay off their homes. Most people don't.
And even I find it interesting too in driving Lyft. I'll pick up a group of women or even men, and they have designer clothes, designer bags. Their hair looks good. That I know is getting your hair done is expensive. All this nice stuff, and then you take them home and. Man, that doesn't match
Living
up.
in a
like
box.
just
driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah, or it's like 10 of them in one apartment.
Yeah.
They'll live on the outside. They'll drive nice cars. They'll have on nice clothes, but they'll go home and it's 8 of them in a studio apartment.
That's what Denver's becoming like New York. Like New York used to be like that. I mean, still like that. DC, different pockets. It's expensive to live out here. And to think of Denver, I used to pay $450 for my first apartment.
And that's crazy because it's like, I feel like it's more on the white side because you couldn't put 8 niggas in a room that small.
Right.
So, somebody getting fucked up every night.
Well, and that's the fact that like it's crossing all genders, all politics, all ethnicities, like it's across the board.
Yeah, and most of the girls that I do pick up that use Lyft, they're mixed. All of them are mixed. Like they'll get their whole little crew, get in the car and they'll be everything in that little mix, and they all live in an apartment, and they've all got their fancy little stuff.
Well, maybe gentrification will bring people together.
I think it will. I mean, well, not gentrification. I think it's just, there's so many different people now. It's just the world is changing. So many motherfuckers on this planet. We starting to look. We ain't all got to be together. Shit.
That's another thing that's hard as far as what society tells us we need to have. So now with the way Denver is, and then people being single and not having kids or having relationships that failed in your early 30s, then you become a 40-year-old with a roommate. And that is really hard to accept. That's
epidemic.
Hard to accept.
It's a new epidemic that's happening. Like right now, ownership is such a foreign language, especially not even just here in Denver, just on a global level.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to be upon the elite.
You do.
To own some shit,
man.
Like
the economic disparity that's happening between rich and poor is getting wider and wider and wider.
But it's going so drastically. Like the amount of money that the people with the money is making off their money is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like whereas the people at the bottom, the services are becoming more and more and more, but you're getting this much. You know what I'm saying? More.
I think
it's not adding up both ways.
70% of the money that's coming in here in Denver right now is new money. Meaning that most of the people who are rich out here are first generation rich. They're not coming. This is not.
Well, yeah, you got a lot of because that's with the startups and stuff.
Exactly. So there's a lot of.
You got these little 18, 19, even younger than that. People work for companies that go big, go global, and then all of a sudden they're multimillionaires.
I met a guy. I gave a Lyft ride to. He started. Doing YouTube videos, and that's his only job. And he was telling me he's making $70 a year right now off his YouTube channel.
Yeah, right. You got people that make millions off YouTube,
right.
And because you live in a nation that exposure is great, you get paid to just be who you are.
Right.
You literally just make videos to the public, and you could be a millionaire.
I think
you can get enough people to look at you.
That's one thing me and my dad have arguments about is social media and internet, because there's a generational gap within that, right? I feel like if you are from 1980s into the 1990s, you're a millennial technically, right? So within being a millennial, our engagement within the internet and the ways that we diversified it and are making money off of it is foreign to our parents. They what the hell you do though?
Yeah, because they were taught that hard work is what Lee said, and they look at sitting at home in front of a TV is just you're lazy.
Right, I'm working hard right now.
It's really, I think it's genius. You know what I'm saying? People hate on these YouTube people and stuff like that. It's genius. You can't be mad at that. You can't be mad that they can literally just sit at home, not really do that much, and make millions. That is a dream you could have. That shit is amazing, but It is what it is, but like I think it's just a foreign concept because we
foreign
look at it as
concept.
like you didn't work as hard as I did to get where I'm at. So what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
And it's not. It's just a new way of doing it. And
Yeah,
it's
my
genius.
dad was born in the 60s. He was born through hard times and, you know what I'm saying, civil rights and everything like that. So, like...
Yeah, that's when you didn't leave your man when he cheated on you.
Right.
You stayed with that
You
man.
just shot him. You shot him. And
You might have shot him and stabbed him, but y'all stayed together.
Or you
Yeah.
shot him and
You
buried
couldn't
him.
walk out on me, Shirley.
Yeah, that's how it was. I actually met this couple when I worked at Kaiser, and he had a limp, and I asked him, I was like, "Oh, did you just have your knee done?" And he said, "No." He said, "I've been married to my wife for 60 years." He said, "But I think it was year 15." He said, "I cheated on her." He said she found out, she shot me in the leg,
Hey,
and we stayed married.
I
and
don't want to
it
put
was
my people's business out there, but I got aunties that done fucked their husbands up and they still together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My
You know?
family was
People,
formed
yeah.
out of that.
just show him like
Lot
you're
of-
not
That was
doing
just
this
how it
again,
was.
but
You
we're
didn't-
moving on.
bats.
You didn't have the
Black eyes.
luxury of leaving. You know what I'm saying? You just like, we got to get through these hard times because everybody posed.
That's
Yeah.
a hard, you know, that's a generational thing too. Our
Yeah.
grandparents, man, like,
Yeah.
I feel like our parents were spoiled. Like, if
Yeah.
my parents, like, when they really went to college, got the opportunities that they did, they didn't have to work
But it's so
hard.
funny, but it's like...
And it was good that they had those opportunities.
But now we have this fake perception of what that old type of love was. It's like, oh, they met in high school
No.
and they just fell in love and they were together forever. I'm like, no. Everybody talk about you want them old time relationships, and you don't want them old time relationships your grandmama had. Your granddaddy was going upside your grandmama head.
No, it was
She
real.
just didn't say
I
that.
mean,
She took them hits and she stayed.
it was a lot of there was a lot of domestic abuse that happened back then.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
It was
That's what I'm
accepted.
saying.
I mean,
It's going all upside your mama head.
A lot of accepted domestic abuse happened during that time, you know, and and I feel like we're still dealing with the aftershocks of that nowadays. You know, like instead of hitting her, you got to, or instead of slapping him, you got to
Well, it's like when you
divorce, separate.
Now
Get
it's
rid of
like
that.
now it's this thing to where it's like, oh, you should never ever hit a woman no matter anything, and that is not like you. That's not realistic.
Oh,
Because
I mean, you should never hit a woman. Period. You should
Man,
never hit a woman.
Joe,
Period.
motherfuckers catch reflexes. People catch reflexes, and you know what I'm saying? To a point, it's like, okay, come on, what do I have to do? Because I mean, you've seen the video surface to where it's like it's these guys and these girls. The guy's trying to get away from the girl,
oh man,
and she's
yeah.
chasing him.
I saw one where she was like,
Yeah.
like
Damn.
stalking this dude up, and he was just like this, and then finally,
Yeah.
Well, the internet has
But it's
changed
like,
that.
but it's like
Changed
you
that
giving
for
them
sure,
too much power to say you should never do. You can't give any group of people ultimate power over anything.
Right.
To give them say, oh, a person should never ever hit me, so that means I can do whatever I want to do, and you shouldn't hit me.
I think like the internet has shown that like it's a diverse it's a mixed story when it comes into domestic violence nowadays because you see
everything.
women
It's crossed over because you
it's
got the
perfect.
one video. I know you've seen the one video where it's the one chick, she walk around, she grabbing dudes' dicks.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
You go grab one chick pussy, it's over.
I mean,
That
Donald
video
Trump.
is done one time. That's it.
Obviously not because of Donald Trump, right?
Huh?
He's grabbing pussies all
Man,
the
that's
time.
that's a power. Look, we need to talk about the fact that there are women in this world that if you have enough money and power, you can grab them by the pussy if you want to. That's what that is.
I've seen a lot of people get arrested for that downtown. Actually,
Grabbing
What?
dicks?
no, the other
Yeah.
be grabbing women.
Oh, really?
Guys will, they
That's what I'm
get
saying.
either escorted out or they are arrested for sexual assault.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
should
that.
never touch a person if they don't want to be touched. But I'm just saying, you see how a woman can do this in public, but if a man does it in public, he's instantly, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he should be able to do it. I'm just saying, don't touch a motherfucker if they don't want to be touched and you don't know them.
Right.
Regardless of anything.
That's true.
You know, I feel it's a complex thing within that too, because within our generation too, we had like freaking the Bundys, right? Like we laugh about it now in the ways that Al used to treat Peg, you know what I'm saying? But nowadays, if you think about the ways that relationship was, it was abusive on both ends, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was kind of toxic,
Yeah.
you know, and it was like, it may have been showing the underbelly real truth of where America was. Nobody
To the
really wanted
extreme, though.
to extreme though.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a condition too, because we saw those things, we perpetuate those things bleed into our relationships.
Well, Sanford and Son.
Sanford.
When he talked about his,
Well,
that's what I grew up watching. That's what my dad watched.
Sanford and Son, like he didn't have a wife though. His wife died. He's always like, I'm having a big one.
Yeah.
You know, he'd talk
Yeah.
about it when he was about to have
And
the
then
big
the
one.
women would come over and he'd be getting ready. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's Boondocks too. That's Pops.
Yeah.
And
So we were supposed to have a special guest today, and they went to what is that? It was Comic-Con
Comic-Con.
this weekend, and he was supposed to
You putting him
Make
on
it
blast
pretty
right
much
now.
Grown ass motherfucking man over there at Comic Con.
Well, he took the kids. He took his nephew or
Yeah,
something
he
like
took his
that.
nephew.
He got on
which is fun.
spandex. I bet you got on spandex.
But hopefully he'll be able to join us soon. I wanted to give a shout out to Colorado Atlantis ADAPT for their work this
Holding
week.
it down.
Yeah.
Holding it down.
Yeah, they need that no vote for the Medicaid. I think a lot of people, when they hear Medicaid, they think of people who are on assistance or just have a ton of kids. But you don't realize that this Medicaid frees people with disabilities. They're able to access rides, transportation. They're able to get wheelchairs that allow them to access areas they never have been. Because before they were prisoners. So now, Medicaid gave them the freedom. So they worked on keeping their people free and needing that no vote.
Yeah.
And Corey Gardner needs to step up and actually talk to people.
Well, a colleague of mine that works with me at Youth on Record, Kaylin, right?
Yeah.
She was a part of that protest. She's part of a band called Wheelchair Sports Camp. Pretty big artist. She's been traveling nationally, internationally, really doing some great things musically, but she's really engaged within activism, feminist. She's also talking about a lot of the handicap rights that's happening. So she was a part of that. Can you give them a little bit more information on that?
And I know, so they went to Corey Gardner's office just to talk to him because the vote is getting ready to happen. We need that no vote to happen from him for Colorado. He did not come out and talk to them or address them. Instead, then the group ADAPT, they said, we're not leaving until we get to talk. And he ended up turning up the heat. And 36 hours went by, then they called the police, and the police were doing their job. They didn't have a choice. They looked like they removed everyone peacefully, made sure they had their belongings. They actually had a conversation. However, this group ended up spending 30 hours in jail. And the community, ADAPT, has originated in Denver, and it's gone across the United States. So there's a chapter in every state.
City.
And they actually, if you don't know about them, you need to. They're the reason why there's handicap ramps on buses here in Denver. They've been around since the 70s. A lot of handicapped individuals come to Denver. It's like the Underground Railroad for people with disabilities here in Denver. But the community ended up raising $40,000 to get them out of jail this weekend. So I thought that was
dope,
huge.
yeah.
That's major.
That
That's
was
major.
huge. So shout out to them.
I seen one picture with one of those Black Power fish.
That's Kaylin.
That's Kaylin.
Yeah.
I work with
That
her.
was a dope ass picture. That's gonna be a picture you'll see in history for a long time.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And then
Definitely.
my cousin, he's a Denver police officer, 20 years. He was a little upset that I had posted that picture because he felt like, what are we supposed to do as police? Like, they called us. We know too that this is wrong. Like, these people are fighting for a right that.
But that's
we
what
may
they do.
need.
That's what
but
they
they
do.
have to take them. Like,
That's what
is
they
their
do with
job.
jobs. It's like they take your ability to do the right thing away. Mm-hmm. Because of a contract you signed with this job to say, oh, you need to do what we tell you to do as long as we give you this little money that we give you.
So he kind of expressed that, and he was like, they're doing the right thing by going, to the governor's office, going to the Capitol, that sort of thing. But then it still makes them. So even with the picture with Kaylin, it shows the DPS officer pulling her up into. It didn't show Corey Gardner's bitch ass not coming out or them not answering the phone or anything like that. It showed these police officers that were forced, had to do this job or you don't have a job kind of thing. And then I know there was some comments on my Facebook like, oh, that's like
the police and the military ain't shit but lapdogs for these fucking political motherfuckers that's trying to destroy this world, man.
Yeah. And then,
whenever they tell you these people are here to protect you, but whenever you do something they don't want you to do, they sick them on you.
They sick 'em.
And then one of the cops was actually talking to Kaylin like, man, he didn't realize, like, people don't think, like, this Medicaid is helping these people to be free, to live alone,
because
they don't
give
homes.
the information out.
No.
You know what I'm saying? People just say, people just hear stuff and they don't know anything behind the fucking name.
They hear Medicaid and they think some like minority person with like 80 kids. They're not thinking you gave this person with cerebral palsy the ability to live in their own apartment alone. Right. You know, where before we put them in these homes and they did electric shock, which is still legal in Colorado, by the way, which is a fucked up thing.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. But, I
mean, I feel that's a systematic pushback that has to happen. You know, like we think about protesting, we think about change, policy change, things like that. It takes a community to like actually do that style of work, to actually progress a system. Like if we don't push against it, and that's why I appreciate like a lot of the people that I work with, community members that are actually engaged and trying to make that change, and it's conscious. You know, it's one thing to talk about it in music. It's one thing to talk about what needs to be changed. It's another thing to be engaged within it. And I appreciate the people who are on the grassroots level, like really trying to make that work happen.
Yeah. We appreciate everyone for listening too.
Right.
And thank you guys.
Yeah. July 8th, Meet in the Streets. The event is up on Facebook, so if you're looking to see who's booked. We also have our comedy show on the 13th. And then we're doing a Zodiac Cancer party on the 15th at Bar Red. And you can find out more information on Facebook at 5280 Entertainment.
Cancer season, y'all.
Yeah.
That party gonna be lit. You ain't gonna want to miss
Anthony's hosting.
It's cancer season. Cancer season.
Turn up.
We're gonna get
we turning up, man.
I'm gonna be doing some tracks over there too.
I like what Shanae said. She's like, I'm always in HD. I like that. That is perfect. That is perfect.
What you got going on? You have a show this weekend. You want to tell them about it?
Yeah, okay. I have a show coming up with Roca Huka, ska band, the Al Capones from LA, and my band Roots, Rice and Beans. We're going to be rocking over at Affiliates. And it should be pretty lit. It's going to be a lot of dance music happening, a little bit of headbanging happening. It's going to be pretty ladies in the house. So fellas, if you like to dance with pretty ladies on some ska or some salsa, get in the house. It should be a good time though. You know, like a lot of all the bands that are playing are really like conscious within addressing different political issues that are affecting them. I know Roca Huka has been really big on immigrant rights. We're getting ready to do a show with them that is raising money for a few organizations that are fighting for some immigrants who are being abandoned and taking, they're trying to get...
They just deported a woman who's lived here since she was 2 and her 2 children that were born here.
Right.
In Colorado.
So the bands that I'm playing with, the Bao de Agua, Pink Hawks, Roca Huka, all these bands are really engaged within activism. And that's another thing about Denver too. There's a big movement of artists who are engaged within activism, like Kalen, Wheelchair Sports Camp. There's a lot of there's many artists out here who are engaging different movements and trying to utilize their art to engage that. So come out, Ophilia's July 7th, Roca Huka, the Al Capones, and Roots, Rice, and Beans.
Peace. We out.
We out, y'all.
Get out of here. Just gave you some fire.